are you? Well, here we are again with another story from the Outback. If you remember last time, we were at Bert Booth's place and his property was called Evergreen. Well, now it's the end of the month and it's a Saturday and we're going to Lake Cargelligo. So this will be my first view of a bush town called Lake Cargelligo. Here we go. The next day being Saturday, I finished my work at 12 and by 1 o'clock I was showered and in my good town gear waiting in Bert's old blue combi Volkswagen for his missus to come out. They're all the bloody same women. All morning she's had to get ready and she's still not here. Go and tell her. Bert said get a move on or he'll leave her at home. I ran across to the kitchen where Kay was. Bert said he's going to leave you here if you don't get a move on, Mrs. Booth.
Go and tell Bert I'm on my way.
She's on her way, Bert, I said as I climbed into the combi. In a few minutes, Kay got in the front of the combi and said,
Okay, what you waiting for, Bert? I thought you were in a hurry.
Struth, woman, what you got all that powder and paint on your face for? You'll scare the bums on Shaman's Corner half to death when they see you. Very funny, Bert. Are you going to drive or are we going to bake ourselves in the van? Old Bert started the combi and we drove down the track, past the dam and out onto the dirt road to Lake Cargelligo. Bert's combi rattled like hell on the rough dirt road and before long my good white shirt was covered in red dust. I didn't feel too bad about it because Kay's white hat with the frill of white lace on the side of it was just the same color as my shirt. It was exactly 12 miles to Lake Cargelligo from Bert's front gate to the strip of bitumen road just out of town. It was a relief when the combi hit the bitumen because the dust stopped coming through the door hinges and the floor, and the rattles went almost silent. Lake Cargelligo was like most other outback towns, except that it had a big lake at the end of the street. There were no barriers up, so if one was too drunk, they'd end up in the lake. And over the years, quite a few did. There was a few houses on the left and right-hand side of the road as we made our way to the main street. A large, new-looking house on the right was the police station, and next to that was the town's jail, which was run by Sergeant Montgomery. As we drove past the jail to the first intersection, Bert turned right down the main street. He drove to the end of the street, which was only about 150 yards long, turned the old combi around before we got too close to the lake, and then headed back up the other side of the street to Angle Park into the curve. Lake Cargelligo, missus. Don't spend too much money, 'cause it's hard to make. I'm off to the pub to cash a check so I can pay him his wages. You can show him the main street if you like. I'll meet you here in 10 minutes, missus. It was a really hot day, so I got out of Bert's combi as soon as I could. I put too much brill cream on my hair, and it was slowly running down the back of my neck. Is my shirt dirty? I said to Kay.
Dirty's not the word for it. It's more like muddy. You got too much hair oil on, and it's all run down your back. Give me a hanky and I'll clean it up for you.
Thanks, Mrs. Booth. I know not to put too much on next time. Old Kay was not a bad old sort at times. She was probably stuck with Bert herself, because no one got a divorce in the Outback in those days.
Let's take a walk up the main street, Richard, she said.
Are there any more streets?
No, Lake Cargelligo isn't a real big place. There's only one main street, and where we stopped at the end of the intersection is where the shops stop. So it's about 1 block long.
We walked up the street a few yards from the pub where we'd parked, outside of the stock and station agents, She spoke to a young bloke who looked about 19 years old.
"Hello, Robbie," she said.
"G'day, Mrs. Booth. In town shopping, are you?"
"Just came in for a few supplies. This is Richard. He's working out at our place."
"G'day, mate. My name's Robbie Townsend. What's yours?"
"Richard, but some people call me Yorkie."
"You're from Yorkshire, are you?"
"Yes," I said.
"Pleased to meet you, mate," he said, and we shook hands.
"I'm going into Sharman's for some things. You can hang out here with Robbie if you like, Richard." "All right," I said as she walked off.
"How long you been out at old Bert's place?" he said with a smile.
"Oh, about a month now."
"You just got here from England, mate?"
"Yeah, I've been here for about 6 weeks."
"You like it out at old Bert's place?"
"No," I said. "I think he's a real mean old bastard." Robbie had a real good laugh at this statement.
"You're not the first one to say that, mate. Old Bert's gone through a few pommies in his day."
"What do you mean?"
"How much does he pay a week, Yorkie?"
£12 a month, plus tucker," I said.
"Jesus, that's less than £3 a week, clear."
"Where do you work, Robbie?"
"This place, mate. Stock and station agents. Me old man owns it, so I work for him."
"How much a week do you make, Robbie?"
£15 a week, mate. And I pay a couple of quid to me mum for tucker. We'll have to find you another job, Yorkie. No one stays with old Bert for too long. I've seen heaps of pommies come and go through Bert's place. If you're still in town tonight, I'll introduce you to me mate, Surrey."
"Who's Surrey?"
"He's a pommy, same as you, mate. He's been here a couple of years now. He got sent to Bert's place just like you. He's lasted the longest so far. I think he worked for old Bert for about 9 months.
"Where's he working now?"
"Oh, he's on another property about 20 miles out. I think he's sharecropping. He should make a few quid this year. But he'll probably drink it all."
"Does he drink much?"
"He holds a record at Blacker's Hotel for drinking a yard of beer." "Look out, here's old Kay coming back. I'll see you later, Yorkie. I'm going to shoot through before she gets here."
Robbie took off back inside his dad's agency just as old Kay walked up. "How did you like Robbie?" she asked. "He seemed like a good bloke, but I don't know him real well yet." "I've known Robbie since he was a little boy. He was born in Lake Cargelligo. I've got some more shopping to do, so you might as well look around the town if you want. The van will be parked here all day, and we'll probably stay in town tonight till about 10 o'clock. "Okay, I'll see you later," I said as I walked off down the street.
Going down towards the lake was a pub. This pub was known to everybody as Twitches. But nobody ever called him Twitchy to his face. He'd have got the shits. Past Twitch's place was a couple of small shops, then a hairdresser's for women. The next shop was Shaman's Garage. After Shaman's was a couple of houses, then nothing at all but dry, flat ground. Sometimes the lake used to flood in wet weather, right up to the bitumen at the end of the street. Across the other side of the street was a tool shop, a few more houses, and another pub called Blacker's Hotel. Next to that was a dirt street. Then came Ray Orr's barber's shop. The barber's shop was of great interest to me because in the window there were fishing rods, knives, and guns. I decided to go into Ray's shop and inquire about a rifle. Ray Orr was cutting a customer's hair when I entered the small but compact shop. It was a typical bush barber shop. There was just about everything one could think of, hanging on the walls or stacked in the corners. "G'day," he said as I entered the shop. "Something I can get you?"
"No, thanks. I'm just browsing around."
"Where are you from, mate?" he asked as I walked around.
"I'm working at Bert Boo's place."
"Ah, you must be Bert's new pommy, are you?"
"I guess so."
Old Bert's due in here today sometime. He gets his hair cut once a month, regular as clockwork. How much are the 22s? They start around £8, he said as he handed me a rifle. She's a single shot, Ann Schultz. Just got her in last week. Bert won't let me have a rifle on his place. He thinks I'm going to shoot his cattle. But as soon as I get another job, I'll come in and buy one off you. No worries, mate. Make yourself at home. I can even give you a haircut if you want one. No, thanks. Maybe next time, I said as I looked around his shop. When I was through looking, I said, thanks a lot. No worries, mate. Anything I can do for you, let me know. Next to the barber's shop was a dry cleaner's, which was owned by Ray Orr. Next to that was Rod's clothes shop. Then came a cafe. Another stock agent's called Dalgetty's, and then the Commonwealth Bank. Now I was back at the intersection where we turned into Main Street. Across the street on the same side was a picture house and a milk bar belonging to old Theo. There were a couple of vacant blocks, then another pub called Giltrap's. Next to Giltrap's Hotel was a residential street, and way up the main street was another garage. Oh, yeah. The post office was next to Twitchy's pub. And as far as I can remember, that was about it, except for Shaman's store, which was the biggest store in town. Lake Cargelligo was quite a small place in 1964. Once I'd made me rounds of the main street, there was nothing else to do but hang out under a shady tree down by the lake and roll myself a flag. The most common form of entertainment at Lake Cargelligo was, of course, the 3 hotels. The double doors were wide open when I passed by, and I could see that the place was packed with cockies and workers. All were drinking, and most were reading the racing page or listening to the Saturday afternoon races. Later on that evening, I met Surrey, who was sat on the hotel steps, drinking with Robbie Townsend. G'day, this is me mate Surrey I was telling you about. Hello, I said as I leaned over to shake his hand. This is Yorkie Surrey. He's out slaving at old Bert's place. G'day, Yorkie. Surrey's my name, and Surrey's where I'm from. You're out at old Bert's property, are you? Yes. Does that old bastard feed you parrots and kangaroo steaks? How do you know? Robbie and Surrey had a good laugh at my expense. 'Cause the old bastard fed me the same, said Surrey, till I wised up a bit. Just refuse to eat those fucking parrots, mate. You break your teeth on those tough bastards. He said everyone eats roos and parrots in the bush. Then he's a fucking liar, mate. He's a miserable old bastard, is Bert, and his brother Dick is worse. Dick is so tight, he doesn't eat strawberry jam. Why? Is it expensive in Australia? They both laughed out loud. They almost fell off the steps and spilt the beer. No, mate, you silly pommy bastard. He doesn't eat strawberry jam 'cause he's too tight to pass the seeds. Now that's fucking tight, said Robbie, as they had another good laugh at my expense. Old Kay's not a bad sort, though, said Surrey. There's a young Sheila around here. The doctors said she'd never walk again on account of an accident. But old Kay worked on her legs for 1 year. Now she can walk again. She's pretty good at that therapeutic massage. I hurt me back one day out at Bert's place. I fell off the combine with a 180-pound wheat bag on me back, and I couldn't hardly move. She fixed it up inside a week. Surrey told me a lot of stories about Bert, but most of them bad. By the time I left them, I was now more determined to get off his place and work somewhere else. As I was leaving, he called out to me, "Good luck, mate. You're going to need it," then laughed his head off. After I left Surrey and Robbie on the hotel steps, I ran into Bert and Kay up the street a ways. "How do you like town?" said Bert. "It's not real big, but I've met a few people already." "You won't have to get to know people here. They'll all get to know you, mate." "God's truth, there's a fight. Let's go and see." Across the street on Shaman's Corner was a crowd of black people rolling around the ground in rags and pissed as parrots. "Who are those blokes, Bert?" I asked. "They're all abos, mate. It's Saturday night and they're full of plonk. We'll get to see a real good show now. That is, till old Sergeant Montgomery arrives." "I thought Aborigines carried spears and boomerangs." "Not these blokes. These bastards are halfway. All they carry is a bottle of plonk," he said as I followed him up to the opposite corner. "What's plonk, Bert?" "Plonk, mate? That's a cheap brown Muscat wine. It costs about 4 bob for a half-gallon flagon. They go crazy with a gut full of plonk in 'em. Here we go, mate. Look out. She's on now." I felt really compassionate towards the Aborigines as they called each other black bastards and rolled around on the street corner, drinking and fighting with each other. Their clothes were old, dirty, and tattered. One had a shirt with a sleeve torn off, and another had a pair of odd shoes with no socks. Another had a pair of trousers with holes in the knees. And another one had no shirt at all. Even the women were getting into the fight now, and they could curse and swear better than the men. Some of the Abo women were twice as big as their men, and they could fight better as well. The fight lasted for about 10 minutes until Sergeant Montgomery arrived in his blue bull wagon with a young constable. "All right, you black bastards. In the wagon you go. You can sober up and cool off in me soul for the evening." The sergeant and his constable grabbed the drunk Abos by anything they could and literally threw them in the back of the bull wagon. He left the women and took all the men up the street to the local lockup. "Yeah, well, that's the excitement over for Saturday night." "What will happen to them now?" I asked. "They'll sleep on the concrete floor for the night, and in the morning the old Sarge will make 'em weed his garden, 'cause he'll have no money to pay for the fine. The old Sarge has the best-kept garden in Lake Cargelligo. He knows all those bungs by their first names, and by the time Sunday night comes, they'll all be back in the lockup again." "Why doesn't someone help 'em?" "Can't help those bastards, mate. They're all past helping. Most of them are alcoholics. They spend every bit of the money on plonk, and they won't work again till there's no money left. Even then, they won't work again till they're hungry." That, unfortunately, was my first introduction to the Australian Aborigines. Before we went back out to the bush, one of them bit me for 2 bob, and I couldn't refuse him, although I knew he would spend it on plonk. That night, as I lay on my bed thinking about the Aborigines, it made my heart incredibly sad to see what a tragic state they were in. Most people in the bush saw them not much better than dogs.